Alright, well, welcome back to Close Enough Garage. Now, there's plenty of videos out there to teach you how to do fork seals on a motorcycle. If you look up the Shadow 600 specifically, you get a few videos that say they're for that bike, and they don't really explain a whole lot. There's a couple of details that I found that were missing that I didn't like, that I wanted to know. I found them out, and I want to let y'all know as well. So, to start, you're obviously, I've got the bike jacked up in the other bay over there. You're going to go ahead and pull your brake caliper, hang that from a bungee cord from like your clutch perch, something like that. Just don't let it dangle by the brake line. Don't let the brake line get all twisted up. On the bottom, this will be the right side. You're going to have two bolts here. They're both Allen head. You pull them out, and then you've got a large hex. Oop, she got excited. You got a large hex going through for your front axle. Now, if you give me one moment, I'll show you a cheat that we did, because I don't have a hex large enough for that. So what I've got here in my hand is the front axle. Now this is, we're recording. This is the large hex that I was talking about. It's right at the end of your forks. Usually you'd have a large hex bolt that goes, or a hex bit that goes in there. I didn't. So I did have a large bolt. I've got several buckets of random bolts and a pair of vice grips. So it's threaded on one end. Well, this is also the axle's threaded on one end. I'm tired. Okay, it's been a long week. You'll look at the bruise here. I got smacked removing a laundry pole. It hit me like a baseball bat. Stupid thing broke off right at the ground. We've been doing a ton of yard work around here, so it's been a long week. Anyway, you got your front axle. It's going through the fork there. See, kind of like that. Put the bolt in. Hex fits perfectly. Put the vice grips on. Put some ass behind it and loosen it. So, we got the axle out. Now, there are two more things to show that you're going to want to pay attention to before you loosen the triple clamps to slide the forks out of the front of your bike. Obviously, if you're taking the wheel off, the fender, the brake, all that, the turn signals, you're going to have the bike jacked up off the ground. Make sure you get it up high enough to get your forks out from under it so you're not messing with it when you got no wheel in case it falls. Now, another thing is your fork cap here. This is a 19mm socket on this Shadow 600 that we're working on. Go ahead and back this off, even just a turn or two. Just release the pressure. Not the pressure, but the tension on this, because otherwise it's going to be very hard to hold it, and then turn it when it's off the bike. The triples actually help hold it in place pretty well. Now, before you get the whole assembly out and get this off, keep the spring in there, keep that tension in there, because we are dripping all over again. Down inside of the end of here, you're going to look at yours and you're going to see that there is a bolt with an 8mm hex head on it. It's internal hex. Again, I didn't have that, so what I did was, I probably do have it, don't know where it is. I didn't have one long enough. I ended up using a cutoff wheel on a L-shaped Allen key and went ahead and cut off the end of my 8mm there. Got it up in there, put an 8mm bit on my impact, which is what you're going to want to do. You're probably not going to break it off by hand. Get up in there, get that impact. Ours zipped right out, no problems at all, especially with the impact tool. So once you get that done, you go ahead and slide the forks out of the triples. Now, I've already done one to make sure that I know that I look like I know what I'm doing. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. And I'm going to hit it all pretty quickly here, but still show you guys what's going on. So one thing that's very important, you're not going to want to scratch this right here. This is where your seals ride. As you're loosening this fork cap as well, be careful because there will be spring tension in here. So I'm actually going to turn the fork itself. There we go. Fork cap is off. You're going to set that aside. You have a shock spacer here. And then let's see, come here. You have your shock spring. your plunger, bottoming spring, and then that's pretty much it for the internals there that we're going to worry about at the moment. I'm going to throw a rag under this thing. I thought we got it all drained, but apparently not. So, go ahead, get this cleaned up a little bit. We're going to wipe this down, wipe my hands down, and I will be right back. So now that I've got a lot of the old fork oil wiped off, I've got different picks and all that stuff. Again, being extremely careful not to scratch the fork tube. You got this dust seal right on top. You're going to get a pick up under that. Kind of just work it all the way around. Once you get it to a certain point, go ahead and just grab a flathead screwdriver and it should pop up fairly easily. Now, there is your dust cap seal. You're going to want to pay attention to the way this was oriented. That's something the other videos had left out that I felt some newer people might need to know. You have, see, look at that right there. You got your top, you have the little ridges where it meets up with the inside of that fork tube there. And then you have a sealing surface right there. So this goes to the outside, this will be at the top. Now, I'm going to bring you in and show you there is a retaining clip and there is also a very easy way to get it out without damaging anything. So come on over here and take a look at this. And there it is. We got that weird looking little dude right here. There's not a ton of pressure on it. It's this right across, right around there. So you're going to just barely get up under it with that pick. This one's going to be mildly difficult. Pop it right out. Now, this next part is going to take some force. You've got your inner fork seal here. Behind that, you have a spacer, and there's also some bushings and shit in there that you're going to want to try to pop out pretty good. Now, at this step, you're going to want to make sure you've got that retaining spring out. We've got it out right here. We're going to set that aside because we'll reuse that. We're not reusing the dust seal. But you're going to want to use a little bit of percussive force to get this out of here. So, wow, that should not have come out that easy. Usually you got to give it a few of those pulls and keep beating against it, but it will come out. So now we've got, looks like that weird little oil bit is still left in here. Got that out. Now, before I reassemble everything, I'm going to get it all cleaned up, nice and spotless. Use up a half can of brake cleaner on it, but what I wanted to show you, this would be why it's leaking. It should not have all come apart this easy, and that seal is pretty heavily worn. So, you got the seal, toss that aside, you're not saving it. This washer looking thing you will be saving, keep that. Not much point in taking these bushings or anything else off unless you plan on replacing them. Just a good wipe down should be fine with those. So we're going to go ahead and get all of this cleaned up, reassembled. I will be right back. So here we have it. One of the important things I wanted to show you that I did not notice being discussed in the other videos, whether I missed it or it wasn't present. This came from somebody on eBay, not sure. So, obviously throw your bag away. This is your internal sealing ring. This is what keeps the oil in your fork. Now you got two sides here. You got this side with a little metal spring all the way around the inside. And you've got this side with the writing on it. Now when this is around a shaft and it's inside of another one, the pressure of the oil is going to press against that bottom, and it's going to force these skirts against the internal shaft and the external one. So, this is your oil sealing surface. This goes down. This is what goes inside of your fork. So, when you assemble everything, you got your fork lower down here. You got your slidey, shiny part up here. This will go that way. This dust seal, as I mentioned, this springy bit will go on the top. This is that cupped part. and this is your sealing surface down here. So they will both be installed like that. A lot of other videos didn't include that. They also didn't include something else that could catch you up. Now, you have this oil plug here, and the way it is supposed to go is inside of the end of your internal fork tube. There's two ways you can put it. This has a small inside diameter. This end has a larger inside diameter. You're going to want to position it. There we go. So the smaller ID is facing towards the outside, because then when you put your piston back in, it needs to fit in there. Otherwise, you're never going to have enough space to be able to reach that little difficult 8mm that goes in the end. This is the bolt everybody whines about. It actually goes into the end of that. It's also going to get a new copper washer on it to seal the oil. But if you don't have that oil standoff right, or that oil tube, whatever the hell it's called, then this isn't going to go in right, and you're going to fight the assembly. And it's not going to go back together how it should. Alright, now that we're back, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what a rock star I am and see if we can put this all back together in one shot. One thing you do need to grab is about a 2-foot section of 1.5 inch thin wall PVC. Don't go to Schedule 40, use the thinner stuff. It fits right in. Now, you don't have one of these laying around. Well, why are you sitting around watching YouTube when you don't have everything you need? Go to Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store. If you're really cool and live in the right place like I do, you can go to Menards and get one and then get the 11% rebate, because we're all cheap. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here, we have this. It's all relatively cleaned out. It's your lower fork tube. We have your inner tube. And this piece, I went and looked because I felt like an idiot. This is your oil lock piece. So, small ID out. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and assemble this kind of like this, because I don't want to be fighting this little bolt and that oil lock piece and everything else when the time comes. Now that I've got this pressed together, I'm going to go ahead, put our bottoming spring back on the piston, drop the piston straight in. It all clumped together beautifully. So I'm taking my little homemade tool here, find the bolt that was just here 2 seconds ago. Oh my God. Oh, it's right in front of me. That happens a lot of, brain damage and all that. So I'm going to put it in. Just get a few threads of finger tight on it. And actually my kid is pulling up, so I will be right back. She's getting off the school bus here in a moment. Alright, now we're back. This is finger tighted in. I've talked to my kid. Hi, how are you? Go do your thing, all that good stuff. So now that we've got this finger tighted in just to hold stuff into position, we're going to start driving everything together. Now, you're going to want to grab your retaining washer here. Now, a lot of people don't tell you this, but there is a top and a bottom to a washer. You have one side, don't know if it's focusing. It's kind of rounded on the inside and outside, and it's nice and smooth. And the other side is kind of sharp, very sharp edges, very squared off. The squared off side is always the bottom of your washer, and sometimes it does actually matter. Now, in this case, you're going to notice your bushing is sitting a little bit proud in there, but that's fine. You're going to get your $3 fork seal driver that you had on hand already. Just drop it in. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to use the weight on it. Alright, forced it a little. It stopped. And that stopped moving. So the next thing, you're going to grab your new seal member. The lettering and the embossment all goes on the top. We've got a thin coat of oil on our fork here. Nice clean used fork oil from the bench top. Put a little bit more on to lubricate the top, or the inside and the outside. Inspect our seal here. It all looks pretty good. So then you're going to kind of pop it on around the top of your fork tube here. Make sure it doesn't roll up. Make sure it's all nice and smoothed on there. You're going to bring it straight down and it should start itself pretty easily. Take your driver again, come down, just let it hit it a couple times. You want to just get it driven in until you see right there we're bottomed out, because I see at the top of that seal is the groove for your snap ring. Now your snap ring, you're going to slide that right around. Don't get hit in the head when your fork falls on you because you're trying to be a hot shot. You just kind of push it in, push it around, and then you use your pick. That's not the right pick, that one is. Just kind of nudge it down along the inside of that tube until it all sits into that groove. Now you heard it click right there, I'm sure. You got that superhero hearing there, click, see it goes again. So that's together. Kind of the same thing with your dust seal. Remember that domed bit goes to the top. The weird shapes and everything goes to the bottom. Lubricate the inside on that. I'm not going to lubricate the outside of it. We're going to slide it down over the top of the fork. Get into position and it pops in pretty easily. So then the rest of the assembly comes after. You put the spring back in. You put your spacer back in. Extend the tube, bring everything down to a comfortable level. You grab your recently cleaned off fork cap, and we're just going to go ahead and tighten this down a little ways. Now with that spring pressure in there, it makes the socket bolt in the bottom a whole lot easier to deal with. So you're going to take your tool, your homemade tool, whatever, get it in there, get on the bottom of that. Keep in mind you should have a copper washer for the oil seal, that's important. Now by manual, it should only have, I believe, around 20 to 22 foot-pounds of pressure. That's not a hell of a lot. It's not cranked in there. So for those of us that are using an impact, if you're on air impact, it's, you know, kind of just a little bit of the ugga is not a whole lot. If you're on electric, if you've joined the future like the rest of us, it just a couple of little click, 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 whatever, how that goes. So we're going to zip it in a little slow. Should be plenty. So the reason you wait and you do that last is because the spring tension from your fork spring actually matters, and it helps hold that in place. It holds that piston in place. It helps kind of lock it in and get it so you can get enough torque on this to get it locked down. And there you have it. There's your forks. You're going to want to get your fork oil and go ahead once you get everything put together and reassemble back on the bike. Pop these caps back off. Add the prescribed amount of the right weight of oil. Should be online. And I don't have a bottle sitting out here, or I would grab it and show you. But that info is pretty easy to find. Go ahead and make sure you have enough. Remember, whatever measurement, I think it's like 375 milliliters. Don't quote me, I'm probably wrong. That's going to tell you need twice that much because it's that much in each fork. So there it is, and there's the information that was missing from the other videos I had found. Doing your own fork seals is not that difficult. It's not very involved. It can be daunting if you've never done this kind of shit before, but you know, our theme around here is not giving our entire life savings to a mechanic if you can do it easily here at home. This is one of those things you can definitely do easily here at home. It costs like, I think $8 to $12 for a fork seal kit. I can't remember, guys. It was cheap. I definitely spend more than that on lunch regularly, as you can probably tell. So go ahead, get the fork seal, get your PVC tube, get a few basic tools, and get it done. Quit sitting around watching me talk to you. All that being said, as per usual, you know, the job's done, so hopefully we've helped somebody else today. And I greatly appreciate you guys checking in and dropping in on me, learning some new stuff, working on some things together. Go ahead and do the whole like, subscribe, and share. Tell your mom, tell your friends, all that stuff. Help this channel grow. We recently hit 500 subscribers, which is more than I ever expected, and that has made me incredibly happy, because what that tells me is that I've helped at least 500 people. And that's been the goal from the start. So, take care, guys. Be safe out there. I'll see you next time.